How y'all doing tonight? Tonight I decided that I was going to cook a couple of steaks. My wife said something yesterday about she wanted to get some steaks, so I went by our little local butcher market here and picked up a couple of New York strips. Like I said, we're just going to do a couple small steaks tonight. I'm also going to do some spinach au gratin. That's one of her favorite sides, and never really tried it, so I got a couple of these little New York strips here, and we're going to put a little bit of marinade, not really marinade on them. I'm just going to put a little bit of what I normally put on steaks to prepare them. Y'all seen this before. Let's put a little bit of olive oil on there, just on the outside. Kind of rub it down just to give it a little coating. It's going to just help with the sear, help the spices really kind of stick to it. But you don't really put much spice. I use this just pretty much like a salt and pepper and garlic powder blend from a local steakhouse. That's about all I put on these steaks. Sometimes if they were thinner steaks, I put a little bit of brown sugar, but on these I think they're going to have to cook a little bit longer, so they might burn that sugar. But I'm just going to rub them down a little bit, and we'll set these aside for a little while tonight while we get everything else ready. I went ahead and decided to add a little bit of extra flavor. I put some of my Hoover sauce marinade, which is really good on steak, especially those ribeyes. But I'm going to let them marinate in that just for a little while. We're going to start the spinach au gratin. Okay, so I got two big things of spinach. I'm going to go wilt this down. Got a little saucepan here. Put in a tablespoon of butter, and we'll add a little bit of chicken broth here. You don't have to put the chicken broth in, but I just happen to have some. I think it'll help this spinach wilt a little bit. Butter start melting a little bit. I'm going to start adding a little bit of cracked black pepper just to season this liquid up some. I've got some salt here, just a little sea salt. See if this stuff's open. What the heck's wrong with it? Dadgummit. Alright, let me open this. Now they got it open. Add a little bit of sea salt in here, just to get a little salt in the water. Now I guess I'm going to start adding the spinach. A little bit by a little bit here. Whoa, hold on, let me make sure I don't make a mess and get this all over the place. What I decided I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and wilt down this first batch of spinach. Once it's wilted down, I'll put the next one in there instead of trying to smash both of them in there. But you keep kind of stirring it and keep this on kind of a low heat now. You don't want to burn the spinach, but it'll wilt down. It'll be pretty quick. So you see, it was real quick on that one. Just wilt it down. Let me put the next box in there. Honestly, I might not have got enough spinach, just maybe more cheesy. Probably could have used another one of these containers of spinach. The stuff will really fool you. It's just like greens, collards and turnips. I mean, it's a huge bunch of greens when they're not cooked. But once they start to cook down, they really reduce because they're mostly water. Go ahead and put these in there. Now my second box of spinach just started wilting down. That's good. And look, I decided I did not get enough spinach. You really need about 3 pounds of spinach. So yeah, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I know I'll get some hate comments for this, but I'm going to have to use a little bit of the Popeye. Alright, just a little bit. Gosh, that sure is a different hue of green, isn't it? But then again, it might work well with the texture. We'll have some bigger, leafier stuff and then some more of that chopped up stuff. So mix this up just for a minute. And then I'm going to push most of the water out of this. I may have to put it in a strainer or something, and I'm going to set it aside. I'm just going to stir this just for a minute just to wilt everything down. Put a strainer there in the sink. I think what I'm going to do is just pour this in there and just let it drain. Maybe just kind of press on a little bit, press some of that water out of there. We'll move back to the saucepan and we'll put 2 tablespoons of butter down. We'll melt that real quick. The butter's melting, I'm going to add a whole chopped onion. Go ahead and get in there. All that onion out. Then we'll stir it around till this onion is about translucent. You don't want to brown the onion, but you want to get it clear. Well, my onions have got nice and translucent. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic. Just a little hit there. Clove or so, a little bit more. I like a lot of garlic. And also, I'm going to add a little bit of Slap Your Mama. Just give it a little bit of heat. You know, that's totally optional. Now what we're going to do, we'll add a little bit of flour. We got about 2 tablespoons of flour here. We're going to stir this around. We're going to cook this flour some. Kind of like we're just making a little roux. About a medium heat. See it? Don't let it, clump up or whatever. Just got to keep stirring it. Keep stirring it. Stir the flour in. Just cook the flour. So it won't have a big floury taste to it. So I'm just going to keep stirring this around for about 2-3 minutes. And look, it's all try to clot up, but keep kind of busting it up a little bit to make sure it all gets cooked evenly, because you don't want it to be uncooked flour there in the middle. Just keep busting it up and stirring it around for about 3 minutes. Now I've cooked this around for about 5 minutes. Take the spatula out. I'm going to start adding, I got 2 cups. I got 1 cup of heavy cream and 1 cup of just regular whole milk mixed. And just stir that in. Whisk that in here. Keep it going. So I don't want anything to clump up. Good stuff here. So I'm going to let this heat up, keep stirring it. I'm going to let this thicken up a little bit, because that basically roux in there is just going to thicken this cream up just a little bit once it gets warm. Now you can see how this is really starting to thicken up. I'm about to add some cheese. I'm going to turn my heat off. I'm going to add this 6 cheese Italian blend from Sargento. It's got shredded natural mozzarella, smoked provolone, Romano, Fontino, Asiago, and Parmesan. You can add whatever you want. Something melts good. So I add about a cup of it. Just going to mix that in. Off the heat. Turn my heat off. And we're just going to make this beautiful cheese sauce, which then we're going to redirect and mix back in with the spinach. So we got the spinach back over here in this bowl. And I've got this cheese sauce. You got to keep stirring it. This thing will try to seize up on you. And we'll pour it right over the spinach. Wow, that is some nice, beautiful stuff there. Stringy, wonderful cheese. Really has a good smell to it. And we'll take that, put that in the zinc over here. We're just going to mix these two together. Just kind of fold that cheese in with the spinach. And I might have to get a couple utensils over here to do it. Just keep on acting kind of crazy with it. Trying to keep you here along with me. This is my first time doing this particular dish. My wife loves it at this steakhouse that we go to, and she's always like, "Why don't you make a spinach au gratin?" So I'm gonna actually try it now. And look at that. You just gotta keep folding it in, and it'll mix up pretty good. There we go. Not as bad as I thought it'd be. Oh yeah, that looks good. That's some creamy, good looking spinach right there now, I tell you. What you want to do at this point is taste it for salt and pepper, stuff like that. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Okay, now I got the sweet, as salty as I wanted. So now it's time to transfer it into a pan. What we have here is a small buttered Pyrex. You could definitely use a little crock if you have one. I just don't happen to have one on hand. I'm going to pour this in there. I'm definitely going to have to do some scooping to get all that goodness out. It tastes really, really good. I can't get over it. No, but the important thing is at this point, like it was, you've got to taste it for saltiness, for flavor, for pepper and everything, because you're not going to be able to adjust it afterwards. So you taste it now and make sure, or right before you pour it in here, make sure it's like you like it. And at this point, we're going to top it with some cheese. I'm going to use a little bit different cheese here. I'm going to use some like Colby Jack and cheddar and just top it off with that. And that'll make a really nice looking topping on it. You can use, like I said, whatever kind of cheese you choose to use. I like this Jack and cheddar. Once you get a nice little coating on the top, I like to go over mine with a little bit of paprika. And this is a great stopping point to where if you didn't want to cook this till the next day or something, all you have to do is pop this in the fridge, then preheat your oven to 400 for the next day, and pop it in for 10 minutes. I'm going to set it aside for a minute until we get our steaks to where we want to be everything. It's 10 minutes supper time, then we'll cook this. Now I've decided to do these steaks right here in the cast iron pan on the stove. So what we're going to do is turn my exhaust fan on, cast iron pan heated up. Now I'm going to put a little bit of high temp oil here in the pan just for a little bit of lubrication. Look at that. Spread that around some. Same oil and stuff I use in my wok actually. Just want something. Just give it a little bit of good little pop to it. Start that off there. Now, I think that pan's pretty hot here. Go ahead and start with 2 steaks. Drain any of the marinade or whatever off. You want them pretty dry when you put them in. That one over there. Oh yeah. Look at that thick old steak. Alright. I'm going to let it go about 5 minutes on this side. Once these dudes have been about 5 minutes on this side, I'm going to go ahead and turn. Look at that. Look at that beautiful food. Now, normally I would have done a steak like this on the grill. I just didn't happen to have any propane tonight when I got home, so we're improvising. Go about another 5 minutes on that side. Now that these guys have cooked for about 5 minutes aside, I'm going to let them rest over here over this full. And I'm going to get back to this pan. That spinach in the oven, 400 degrees. Then what we're going to do, we'll make a nice sauce and a side for these steaks. I'll gut off out most of any big black bits out of here. And we'll deglaze this pan real quick. What I'm going to use, take a little bit of bourbon. Oops, look out. That stuff really flying. Oh, there we go. There it goes. Not to worry. A little bit of bourbon in there. Maybe a little bit of brown sugar. Take this arm off. Okay, just melting this brown sugar down here. We'll add a little bit of water. Just a little bit. Just a little bit, just so this stuff doesn't just turn to carbon on the bottom. Turn it down to low, and I'm going to add some mushrooms. Actually, there's one more thing I want to add too. I got the liquid here. A little bit of beef bouillon paste. Tell you, you're not cooking once that fire alarm goes off at least once. So, let's see. I think I might have burned my eyelashes on that one. Alright, we got that mixed in a little bit. Put the rest of these in. And just let these mushrooms cook down a little bit. Another thing I want to show you, add a little bit of Lea & Perrin. Just add just some right here to these mushrooms. That would be real good too while they cook down. Now that the mushrooms are cooked down, they start to release a lot of their juices, so I'm going to strain some of the juice off of here. You can see I strained some of the juice off. And come in here in just a second with a little bit of cream. This is going to get this nice creamy texture of this sauce. This will be real good. Okay, I'm just going to stir that in, and I'm about to remove these and put them in something. Sorry, I had a little camera trouble there, so let's see how this goes. Got me a beautiful steak. Got me a baby potato here. That's some good looking stuff. Oh, by the way, the camera's messed up. I put a little bit of cornstarch in that mushrooms and gravy right there at the end. Just put about a tablespoon of cornstarch, mix it with a little cold water, and pour in the mushrooms and gravy. That'll thicken up nicely. So we'll come on with a little bit of that. Put some of that on the steak. And that mushroom gravy with that bourbon glaze in there. Then we'll get a dollop of this. Now you gotta see this. See, can you see that casserole there? That's some good looking stuff there, I tell you. Yum. I'm gonna get a little dollop of that, put on the plate. Wow. That's some stringy, cheesy goodness. Well, I may have to get a bigger spoon. There it goes in all its glory. Oh yeah. Let's taste this spinach. Oh, gratin. See for the cheesiness. That's A+. Let's cut into this steak. See what we're dealing with. Oh yeah. That's a little bit of fat there on that end. I'm gonna cut on back a little bit more. Look at that. Cooked nicely there. Oh yeah, look how pretty. Steak just turned out really well. A little bit of pink right there in the middle. Just fine. Go ahead and just give it a good try. That's some flavor there. I tell you what, you gotta try this dish. Especially the spinach here. That's out of this world. Really good. I'm really surprised. Hope y'all enjoy.